How are you guys all doing? We are back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be going over a pretty common champion, but one that I vaulted for a really long time. Really shouldn't have, but I pulled her out of the vault, reworked her a little bit, finally got her to 60, and it has been a massive help to my account, and that is the one, the only, Doompriest, the Epic Knights Revenant support character. She has been really good. I've switched her out from using a until recently, very well built apothecary who was taking the support lead in my clan boss team, and I just couldn't get any more out of him, and he was just stuck. I was just hard locked, couldn't get any further. Well, I did it. I switched to using Doompriest after switching up some gear and getting her set up and leveled finally, and she has replaced him, and it has made a pretty big difference. For a long time there, I was hitting Nightmare Clan Boss from anywhere like 16 million to 21 million. It was very inconsistent. Sometimes I'd be 2-keying the whole boss, sometimes it would take 3. It was just really obnoxious, and it would change almost daily. And now, switching to Doompriest, I almost exclusively hit for 20 to 21 mil. I think I got 119 mil in there, but it's been way more consistent, and she's been really useful, and we're going to go ahead and look at why. So we're going to go ahead and probably go from left to right here. So the first thing I did, and this is kind of the thing I don't see used very much that I wanted to try, and I've actually really liked the results of. So I decided to try and use the Guardian set, the 4-piece from the Gryphon Doom Tower boss. The 4 artifact set, wearer absorbs 10% of all damage dealt to ally champions, heals by 10% every turn. So it wasn't the biggest deal, and I kind of just ignored it for a while. It didn't seem all that great, it just kind of seemed like there was better sets out there. But having a lot of damage reductions on the team, this 10% absorption just felt like one more little stack just knocking down the amount of damage the clan boss was dealing to my team, and on top of her skills, which we'll look at here in a moment. It really made a difference in sustain just because it took off some more of the damage everyone was taking, which was already being mitigated by all kinds of other things. And then she would also heal. So it just made a really good support setup. And then, like I said, with her skills, that also adds into it. And then I also went in with a little bit of a mortal set just to add to the heal every turn. So it'll be a 13% heal every turn using both. I've still got some gearing to do here. I'm looking for a new chest piece to be better, but I do still want a defense one, which getting them from clan boss can be a little iffy, so still got a little gear that can be improved. And then we just went with an HP ring, the best I had, an HP amulet, and then a defense banner with some nice substats with some speed. I got to roll on some more HP and defense because she doesn't really need accuracy. But I've really enjoyed how this Guardian set has worked out. I didn't really see it being all that useful everywhere else, but it's working really well. It's just, like I said, it's one more little knockdown of damage everyone's taking, and then it also gives her a pretty reasonable heal every turn, which pairs well with her passives. I feel like it works really well on her. I don't know how useful it would be in general, but on her, it's been really good. And the main reason is, we'll get in here, so her first skill is attacks one enemy. If it's critical, places an increased crit rate buff on a random ally. Very inconsequential, not a big deal at all. And then she has Mass Possession, places a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns, which isn't bad. A lot of my champs are more defense and support based, so it doesn't make a huge difference, but it's more attack, and it goes for free, so why not? It's not a big deal, it's useful. But the main thing here is Bolster. Heals all allies by 7.5% of their HP and removes 1 random debuff from them at the start of this champion's turn. So at first glance, and this is kind of why I had vaulted her for a long time, is the rest of her kit's not that exciting, but the 7.5 sounds really small, right? Doesn't sound like a big heal, not very important, and that is true. It's not a beefy heal. It's not a heal someone from almost dead to full in 1 turn. But what this does is every time she goes, she takes 1 debuff off of everybody and heals for 7.5. Not bad, right? But she does it every time, so when you get her going faster, taking multiple turns, she'll get a fair amount of heals in there. And then keep in mind, she also has the gear set, the Gryphon set, which reduces everyone else's damage taken by 10%, and she takes it, but she heals a whole lot because of both artifact sets and the passive while healing everyone else. And the part that has made the biggest difference for me is she can clear both the poisons and the stun that the clan boss deals to your team, which the stun itself was one of the biggest blockers I had, was I didn't want to focus on building resistance on everybody just for the stun, but it really messes with your clan boss runs when your main damage dealer gets stunned regularly, which was happening to me for a long time with my occult brawler. I don't know where he's at actually. Oh, there he is. And so being able to shift to using her instead of apothecary, where she can negate almost all of those stuns and some of the poisons and heal everybody and negate some of their damage. It's just kind of, these artifacts and her kit has worked really well in supporting my team. Like I told you in the numbers earlier, it really bumped up my average. And then she's also got a increased force ally speed in all battles by 15%. Not a big deal, don't really use the aura much, but if you were running a very force heavy team and you didn't have a speed lead of any kind, it wouldn't be bad at all. And then we'll move into the Masteries. So in the offense tree, I just went down the really simple path here, mainly just to get War Master so that even she can end up doing some damage. I think she herself usually hits for 1 to 2 mil depending on how far the match, the fight goes. But that's almost all from the War Master. She herself doesn't do a whole lot of damage. And then over here I went in, because you don't really need the support tree on her, because the only buffs she actually places are that one increase attack, which I'm not really relying on. If you were relying on it, you could always come down here for like lasting gifts, chance to make that last longer. But I didn't really feel that the support tree was all that necessary, and all of the, where is it here? All the increased heals casted and whatnot, though I do believe they apply to her passive, because of it already being a really small number, these percentages, the 5, and then what is the one here? If blah 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 10, any of that, they don't add all that much, so I didn't feel like it was really worth. So instead I came in here for the defense tree to pick up a little extra defense, increase the amount of healing, value of shields. It was just kind of there, so I figured why not add a little bit if nothing else. And then decrease damage received from AoEs by 5%. Not bad, helps her take less damage from the clan boss AoEs. And then let's see, each time an enemy champ is healed, this is kind of outside of a clan boss. Not very important, but it is there, so if I do decide to use her in arena or let's say some dungeons and there's someone that heals in there regularly, she'll also get some heals off of it, so it's not bad. And then resurgent, 50% chance to remove one random debuff from this champion when they lose a large amount of HP. Not really important considering she already debuff cleanses, but I figured if she were to get stacked up with debuffs in arena or something else and I was trying to use her, this could help remove more of them. Mostly, here was it, the resist isn't bad, increase ally resist by 5 for each buff placed on them by this champion, why not? And then, here's the one I really wanted. Delay death reduces the damage this champion receives from a specific enemy by 0.75% with each hit taken from that enemy. Damage reduction stacks up to 6%. And I figured across a clan boss run, this would be pretty good amount of sustain, negating another 6% of all damage done from clan boss. Not a bad deal, really. And then the last one I took down here, Cycle of Revenge, 50% chance of increasing the turn meter by 15% when an ally is attacked with a critical hit. I don't think it happens too often with clan boss. I want to say he has like a really small amount of crit chance, but I figured why not? And again, if I use her in arena or anywhere else, dungeons, crits do happen, and this will increase the chances of her going again, healing and taking away debuffs. And then for the last one that I haven't quite gotten through here yet, I'm not sure which one I want to go with. I'm kind of thinking of going with Selfless Defender. Decreases the damage an ally receives from the first hit from each enemy in a round by 20%. This champion will receive that damage instead, because again, kind of like the Gryphon set, take some of the damage dealt to the allies, do it to her, but she can tank it better and she can heal it back. So I'm thinking I might go with that one. Let's see what this one was. Counterattack. The counterattack one wouldn't be bad, but she doesn't do a whole lot of damage, so I'm leaning more towards finishing out the Masteries with the Selfless Defender. But for now, mostly just defense tree, get War Master. She's really quite simple, so this will actually be a pretty quick guide here, and that's pretty much it. So the one last thing I wanted to mention here that I almost forgotten to bring up in more detail is the debuff removal will remove a debuff before she goes, which I had kind of glossed over before. But what this means is if she were to, say, take the clan boss's stun, normally the stun would happen, you'd lose the turn, things carry on. What this does is it means that that will be removed before she goes, so she wouldn't lose the turn to the stun. It wouldn't like have her lose the turn and then other people get the debuff removed. No, it goes first, which is really important, and it makes a really big difference because it means that she's almost never stunned, and a lot of the time she can stop others from getting stunned because she's really fast, so she'll go before them, remove the stun, and then everything carries on as normal. So she saved me a lot of damage and runs because of not letting my damage dealers be stunned by clan boss. So she's really useful in that. And then to wrap this all up, I'm going to come in here and show you the stats. So right now I'm sitting at about 52,000 HP. Attack really doesn't matter, but mine's at 1600. Defense is at 2500, which isn't bad, though I do run a 34% increased defense as my aura lead. Sorry, aura for clan boss, so it gets bumped up a little more. And then speed is at 202. Faster would be better, but for right now she's running pretty quick, and she's getting almost 2 turns per clan boss turn, roughly somewhere in there. I forgot to map it out exactly, but she's going faster and goes really regularly, so those heals are going all the time. Just about 60% crit rate, which is fine. Little bit of crit damage, not a big deal. One nice thing is she doesn't need accuracy whatsoever. No debuffs, doesn't matter. You don't have to build accuracy. You don't need to build resist because the one thing she'd get is the stun, and she can get rid of the stun. So you don't have to worry about those stats as much, which is really nice because it frees you up a little more room to go for speed, defense, and health, because that's really all she needs is just get your health, get your defense, get as much speed as you can, use sets you like, and that's really all it is. She's very simple to build. And one more other little important thing, just because as a fellow free-to-play person, it would matter to me a lot. You don't need a single book on her at all. The main thing she does is that passive, and you don't need books for it. Her damage comes from War Master. You don't need books for that. I mean, the A1, you could, I guess if you had a million books, you could dump a few in for a little extra damage, but it's not really important. And you could try to get the 1 cooldown on the increase attack. And if you were using her for the increase attack, it wouldn't be bad to have it down to a 3-turn cooldown. I don't really rely on direct attacking for my clan boss damage. I tend to use poison, so for me, anything this does is just extra. I'm not relying on it. So I don't need a single book in her to do what I need her to do, which is be an incredible support. And she has done that. And even though there's 101 videos on her by now, I'm sure, I just wanted to give my little take because I haven't really seen anyone using the Gryphon set before, and it's worked really well for me. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you guys have been able to pull this champion. If so, count yourself lucky, and I wish you the best. Until next time, guys, goodbye.